In today's video, I want to show you how to build an annual cash flow statement for a real estate development or acquisition model, as well as show you how to model out a waterfall schedule that shows the GP and LP distributions, cash flow, and returns. A disclaimer is that when I first started real estate financial modeling before 2020, I used Justin Kivel, and he gave me a lot of the foundation that I still use today. So the look and feel of this will be similar to how he models, but I've added my own twist to it as I've learned new things along the way. I just want to state that he was an inspiration in pretty much everything I do from a modeling standpoint now. It was a great learning experience taking his class, so I highly recommend it. Before we get into the 10-year cash flow and waterfall, I just want to show you a couple other tabs that I have. The purpose of this model is to give you a quick glance when you have a deal come in that's a development or acquisition opportunity. In this case, development. You can quickly understand what the deal looks like from a cost perspective, from a lease rate and rent perspective, and then ultimately how that affects the project level returns, as well as the partnership level, which are the GP and LP. So it can kind of be a quick go or no go on whether or not to pursue the deal. So I'll quickly show you these three other tabs. The first one is the development budget. I simply have cost per square foot, total project cost. I have the uses listed, percentage of uses, dollar amount, and then cost per square foot. I have a lease up tab that I think is a very beneficial tab. Again, we have square foot, cost per square foot, project cost, cap rate, exit cap, the spread between yield on cost and exit cap, monthly rent, annual, escalation. The reason I do monthly is a lot of cities in the West go on a monthly rent basis. So here I have modeled out the monthly, the annual rent, the net operating income, the cap rate by year, and the compression spread. I think this is very beneficial for this line in particular because it's going to show you how the rental escalation impacts your yield on cost to where your exit yield is going to be, your exit cap. So with just a 3% escalation in year 5, we're going to have a 7.8% cap rate compared to a 6.93% cap rate. So we're going to almost go up 100 basis points, and that will get us to a total spread of 1.8 between the exit cap and yield on cost. If we were to change that to 5, it would go up to 243 basis points, so almost 2.5% spread. So it increases significantly with just 2 extra percentage points on your rental escalation. I think a tab like this is very beneficial. Won't spend a ton of time on that, but just wanted to show you that. Then the main tab, this is the back of the envelope, square foot, cost per square foot, project total, rent numbers again, cap rate, net operating income, equity and debt, loan information, rate, amortization, monthly payment, annual payment, cash flow after debt service, and cash on cash. We got lease rates, lease numbers and cap rates, site coverage, and then land costs. You can pause the video and kind of refer back to it, but I want to go over the main purpose of today's video, which is to show you about the annual cash flow and then the waterfall modeling. And what I'll do today, I'm not currently sharing my models. I may change that down the road and add them on my website. But what I'll do is click F2 and show you so you can pause the video and go back and see how everything is modeled out. I'll try to do that for the first 2 columns because typically you just drag them over after the first 2. So it should be pretty straightforward. But I'll just kind of show you this. You can pause the video for the left side on typing in all of this information right here, as well as this information down here. And I'll just kind of read through. We got project costs, site or total project square feet, cost per square feet, rent per month, rent per year, rental escalation, cap rate, net operating income, equity and debt, loan information, exit cap, compression. And then down here we have the GP equity, LP equity, preferred return, and the promote over preferred return. Then we have our return assumptions down here. So just starting off, we begin with the purchase price. So we pull it from the project costs, which is cell D2. Make sure that's negative. We then create a line for gross revenue, and I'll speak to why I did that later versus just going to straight net operating income. But we bring in the square footage and the rent per year, F4 both of those, and lock them. And then for this next one, we reference the previous cell, then we add in the rental escalation for that, and then drag across. As you can see, it's right there, square feet times rent per year. Then we go to year 2 at the rental escalation. So purpose of this line and why I just didn't do a net operating income is because the occupancy allows us to model out a lease up. So we could say 50% is only leased in year 1, then that would bring the net operating income down. So I just gave that buffer there to manipulate the data. Currently we have everything leased up in year 1, but obviously that's not always the case. So you could simply model out occupancy here, or go back to another tab like our lease up tab and build more dynamic even on a monthly basis and have it flow in annual, then have it flow into this. So the net operating income row is simply gross revenue times occupancy. That's just dragged across. For the unlevered cash flow, we're just bringing it from above purchase price. And then the first year of unlevered cash flow, as you can see, you can pause the video. It's an if statement. Takes the sale year, which is down here, and references year 1 greater than or equal to. And if it is true, we sum these cells. And if it's not true, it'll be blank. So then we just take that and drag that across. So if the sale year were year 6, we would have this showing. And because it's year 5, we don't have anything showing. So I'll just show you that again real quick. Loan proceeds, we take that from the loan amount on the left, assumptions. Principal payment, this gets a little bit more tricky. And again, you can pause the video here. This is simply dragging across, so it's not too complicated once you get the hang of it. But first we reference year 1 less than or equal to sale year. We do the cumulative principal. We do the rate divided by 12. And pay attention to locking these. Typically on the left, we're locking all these with F4. And then on the top, we're letting them be normal and letting them fill across. Again, D17 is the rate divided by 12. D18 is the amortization. So 20 times 12 to get 240 periods. Go to present value, which is a debt amount or loan amount. We do the year that we referenced times 12 minus 11, which gets us to month 1. And then this gets us to month 12. And then if there's nothing, if the year referenced is past the sale year, nothing shows. So we just simply drag that across. Again, you can pause the video on this one. Same logic, just cumulative interest payment this time. And we're going to end up dragging it across. For the ending loan balance, we're going to reference the year up here, less than or equal to sale year, year 5. Then we do the loan proceeds plus the principal payment. We make sure that's a negative number. And then if it's false and not past the sale year, nothing will show. Let you pause the video on this one. A little bit more moving parts on that. Simple average cash on cash, IRR, equity multiple. These GP and LP are pulled from down below. So I'll do that, and then we'll quickly go through the waterfall schedule. It's not too bad once you get the hang of it. Again, if you fill out the first 2 columns, you can basically just drag stuff across. A lot of times, year 0 and year 1 have some nuances that you have to go in and manually input, but other than that, it's not too bad. So for year 0, the GP contributions, we're taking the levered net cash flow in year 0 times 10%, which is the GP equity. We're doing the same thing, levered net cash flow times the LP equity percentage. Then we're summing those. This is an if statement. It's basically saying if the levered net cash flow in year 1 is equal to, or excuse me, is less than 0, then the GP equity percentage times the levered net cash flow is true, and if not, 0. Kind of the same logic here, just with the LP. Basically saying the levered net cash flow in year 1 is less than 0. Then you have the LP equity percentage times the levered net cash flow. And we're just dragging that across. So for the beginning balance, put in 0 here. Pref accrued 0. LP contributions are referenced from above. LP distributions are 0. Come back to that. Ending balance. So beginning balance references the LP contributions. This takes a beginning balance, multiplies by 1 plus the preferred return minus the beginning balance. This involves some min-max function syntax. Let you pause the video there. Okay, for the GP contributions, reference the cell above in year 0. No distributions, year 0. Add those together. References above. You can see the syntax for that. Takes the LP distributions, divides it by the LP equity number, multiplies it by the GP equity number. This sums it. This adds LP distributions for the GP distributions to get total. Then this is cash flow remaining with an if error involving the max of the levered net cash flow above minus the total distributions. and distributions to LP. This takes the cash flow remaining times the GP equity percentage plus the promote times the LP equity percentage. Simply just sums them together. LP cash flow is pretty straightforward. And then as far as the returns, that's what those look like for the IRR. You can also use XIRR if you like, and you add dates. GP equity multiple is simply the sum of the positive cash flows divided by the initial outlay. LP IRR, same thing. LP equity multiple, same thing. So hopefully this was beneficial. You can pause the video at any time to go back through. One thing I'll quickly do at the end here is just slowly go through these cells. That brings us to the end of today's video. Hopefully this was beneficial. And again, this is just a quick overview. I wanted to give you a flavor so that you can potentially build this on your own. By seeing everything, you should be able to go back through and build this on your own as you see what's referenced in each cell. And again, it gives me a great idea of if a deal makes sense or not from a project level, and then how it impacts the partnership returns from a GP and LP basis. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Hope it was beneficial, and have a great day.